So growing up, I guess all we really could do is play sports. And growing up, our siblings were like quite a bit older than us, so just having us by ourselves at home, we like played a lot of games together, so we were very competitive growing up. And then as we got older into high school, we were playing with teammates we had played with when we were little, and then they were like really close friends of ours. And like I said, there's not much to do, so basically consisted of sports and then just hanging out with our friends outside of basketball. Growing up, not having access to sports the way like bigger towns do, so we didn't really have club teams growing up, travel teams growing up, so we kind of had to start our own, which consisted of our high school team, and we travel with them. And then getting into our senior year, we joined a travel team out of Clovis, Carruthers kinda, which was Cal Sparks, and then that kind of allowed us to meet a lot of the Clovis girls and like some of the people who like we've had as teammates now, and it kind of introduced us it gave us more connections, and then it allowed us to be introduced to more colleges and just get more looks that we wouldn't have had otherwise if we hadn't left. We started playing rec ball in like 3rd grade, so we were about 8, but that was just like city league team. They just throw a bunch of kids on a team and you kind of just play. And then we got like competitive with it probably our 8th grade years when we started like a mini travel team with our soon-to-be high school. I think it was the one sport that we gravitated to the most, because we also played volleyball and we did track. Track was what we did. We'd done track a lot longer than basketball, but basketball was special for us, and it just allowed us to be a part of like a team. Yeah. Rather than track, it was always just like very individual. And then being on basketball teams, it was just like easier. We got to play together, and then we got to make other teammates and like friends through it, so it became more special than the other sports. It is, I mean, it's a pretty small town, but also you kind of can get lost in the mix too. It's not like it's that small. But the community itself is super supportive. Atwater High is extremely supportive of its student athletes, and going back, it's always like, I don't know, it's just like a nice feeling going back in the gym, especially watching the girls play. And it's kind of like this culture. It's like playing here. Like it's genuinely, it is like a family from, you know, your freshman team all the way to your varsity team. So I think that's what makes it so cool, because we go back and we see like these young girls playing, and yeah, some of them do recognize us and we're like introduced to them as we're there, but I don't know, it's a cool experience. The coolest part is just watching now them grow up. So like the seniors this year were freshmen when we were there, so it's cool to go back and just see people progressing in their game and like getting better every single year. Our freshman year we were at a different school in South Dakota, and at a 4-year school. That didn't work out, and from our senior year we were getting recruited by Fletcher, and then we kind of decided going to South Dakota might help us. I don't know, it was kind of like a moment of us trying to branch out. It didn't work out, and we immediately knew that we wanted to come back here and play for him. And I don't know, from that moment we were like, okay, from like even the first Zoom, because we started off with Zooms, we couldn't even meet, and from that first Zoom I was like, okay, this team is going to be really special. Definitely just like the atmosphere in general. I think like the girls were just really welcoming. The girls were just fun to be around, and I think definitely it started out like in the middle of the pandemic, and we started out on the tennis courts, and I think that just really helped us like show that we really wanted to be here, just because we weren't allowed in the gym. There was nothing going on. We had no season to look forward to, and everyone was just here just to put in the work in hopes of getting a season the next year. Mm-hmm. And so I think that was like the really, really special part about it. And then just having our coaches like always here, and like they're always like willing to come and like set up these practices, not knowing if they're even going to be able to coach in the year to come. And it was just like a special bond that we all created together, knowing that like we were just here working for each other and for ourselves, not knowing what was going to come out of it. It's just like the team and our style of play and the way that Coach Fletcher has just had us set. This like offensive flow that you're not going to find at probably any other school, because we do really have a chance to be free with our game here, whereas I mean a lot of other schools you're going to find girls being like really robotic because they're in the system. But here it's like we have this perfect mix of girls that can do so many different things, and then we're put on this court where we're just doing all of our special things. It's like role players. I've never been a part, I mean I've had teams where everybody's got given a role, but not everybody's able to fulfill that role. Whereas here everyone has a role and everybody's completing that role all the way through, and it's mixing really well. And our offense is set up to let each person succeed. So it's really just about movement, getting each other open, and it's really about just playing for each other. If we can play for each other, the ball moves, we score, and that's why we've been having like this success that we've had offensively and averaging over 80 points a game. We have faced a lot of like challenges this season, just injuries, sickness, different things like that. And the way that we're so close, I think, is what's going to pull us through, because even we had a bad game yesterday, but today in practice you wouldn't be able to tell because everybody's going so hard and there's just such an emphasis on like recovering and pushing forward, I guess, moving on, getting better. Regardless of anything, like we're always going to have the effort there just because everyone comes and shows up and is ready to like work hard. So I think that's just going to help us push through and help us get to that next level that we need to get to. I realized on Instagram, because we were all tagging him and stuff, and then I realized it said that like in your Instagram DMs it shows that you've like tagged somebody, and I went and clicked on it. I was like, oh, maybe he saw it, but then it says he can't even see them. I don't think this is gonna work for me. Maybe he'll show up to a game. Who knows? I'm a liberal studies major. When I transfer out, I'm gonna be a special education major. I'm also a liberal studies major. I was also thinking of doing the same, of going special education. I'm not really sure where I'm going with that, so liberal studies is just broad enough for me to be able to choose whenever I have to make that decision. Definitely with like this whole COVID year, it just came down to like all of our classes were online, so it came down to a lot of like scheduling and you making your own schedule and prioritizing like what work needs to get done when, in between your classes, in between work, and like just like everything else that you have going on. It just comes down to time management. So when we came in, there was 8 of us that were here before this freshman group came in, which we only have 3 freshmen this year. And I think the biggest part of that was making sure that us as a group were all on the same page, and like we all knew what we expected. We were all gonna work hard, we were all gonna show up. We were all really, really tight-knit. So it kind of forced them in a way to buy into what we already had. So they were gonna have to work hard in order to be here. They were gonna have to buy into like the friendship and the culture that we had already set, and it really allowed for like nothing else. Like plus they're just like a fun group of girls. They like just came in, a bunch of goofy personalities, and we kind of all just like meshed together. In the last 3 years, I've realized that I used to take basketball really seriously. I mean, like in high school, if I lost a game, don't talk to me the next day, because I'd be so upset. But I think, especially being here, the way we handle losses or even like just bad days, I've learned not to take life so seriously, and I don't know, it's so crazy that my mentality has shifted. I guess it's more of like a negative outlook and a positive outlook on life, and I kind of I don't even freak out at little challenges anymore. I'm like, we'll figure it out, it's fine. I think the best part about sports is just like how it genuinely prepares you for life and like everything that you're gonna do after it. And like even just like as I've had like jobs the past 2 years, like every time I go to work, I feel like it's like a way easier version of going to practice in a way. I'm like, oh wow, like my job feels so easy compared to having to go to practice, and I feel like it just prepares you, like sports in general just prepares you for life and like holding you accountable, having to work with like a team. And I think like the biggest takeaway from basketball has just been like now that like at the end of the day it is just a game, and like just enjoying where you're at with who you're with the people you have around you, and like just embracing every single moment of it. We've always played pretty well together, but I think now that we are more mature, we don't have as many arguments on the court as we used to. So I think that definitely helps. We've also definitely bought into separate roles, whereas we used to kind of have to mesh into one, and we kind of played the same position. So I think we can read each other a lot better. And then not only that, having like we have the 3 Clovis High girls together, mixed with us, we already have chemistry playing together. They have chemistry playing together. It seems like all of this just really clicks like a puzzle. I think when we first started, maybe they got a little confused. They'll probably admit that, but I feel like now they kind of have us down. We have really different personalities, so I feel like even our voices or just like the way we walk, I think you can't really confuse us anymore.
come in on two. 1, 2. Okay. Nice.